Hello everybody, this is Lino Tadros, and in this video we're going to actually start going away from OpenAI a little bit, or even Azure OpenAI. I would like to use something like DeepSeek or Mistral or something else and see how Semantic Kernel will work with that. So let's go ahead and deploy a model like DeepSeek inside of Azure AI Foundry. It doesn't have to be, you can get it from Hugging Face, and we will do that later on as well, but it's a good idea to start with Azure AI Foundry and deploy a model for DeepSeek, for instance, and see how I can actually bring it in. Remember, this is not going to be an Azure OpenAI or OpenAI, but we can use the Azure AI Foundry called AI Inferencing service. So we can actually bring that in and see how we can actually call it based on the code that we have shown before. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, I am back in Visual Studio Code. Let me close all that stuff. I already have 3 different projects here, and I'm going to create a 4th one. Let's go ahead and say Control-Shift-P, and we'll say add a new project. And really quickly, we have done this several times already. It's a console app. We'll say 03.DeepSeek. How about that? All right, that's good enough for me. Put it in that folder, and that's solution. And now we have a DeepSeek ready to go. So in my DeepSeek in here for the project itself, let's steal from the previous one. I think we had these items group. I'm going to bring them all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to add one more. So let me put in here, we'll go after the project, the property group, and I'm going to bring in these items groups in here. So I'm still going to bring in the Microsoft extension configuration, the JSON, the regular Semantic Kernel 164, or whatever the latest available for you. But notice I'm not bringing in the connectors for OpenAI or Azure OpenAI. I'm bringing something called Azure AI Inference, okay? And it's in beta right now. By the time probably you get this, it will not be in beta anymore, but it's still working and it works great. So I'm going to bring in the 164.0 beta to work with that. Let's also go ahead really quickly and create our API settings. Remember that file? So app settings.json. There we go. Yeah, spelled correctly. And I'm bringing in a new one called inference. You can call it whatever you want, of course, but it will have an API key. This one will have to have an endpoint because coming from Azure OpenAI, from Azure AI Foundry. And now I have to pass on also the model ID. So we're going to save this, but we're going to have to get back to it later on to fill it in from information that I already have inside of my Azure AI Foundry. Sounds good? And in the program.cs in here, I'm going to replace this with all the code that I had before. The only difference that I'm going to make is to not use OpenAI, but use DeepSeek. So let me delete this and I'll bring in the code. This is the code that's identical to what you saw before, okay? The only thing that I did not save. So you'll have to click on Control-S for the system to bring in the NuGet packages, and that will fix, of course, all the errors that I'm getting in the program.cs. Okay, there we go. So everything you see in here is 99% what I've done before, okay? The only thing that is different in here, again, I'm using the configuration builder to load everything from the app settings.json, but I'm not using add Azure OpenAI or add OpenAI. I'm using something called add Azure AI Inference chat completion. And I'm passing in the DeepSeek model ID, the DeepSeek API key, and the DeepSeek endpoint that came in from the app settings.json. Everything else is the same. There is a little bit of a trick that I need to show you in the code that is not like the others, but at least for right now, let's go ahead and get these 3 values from Azure AI Foundry to tell you where they are when using inferencing servers like this to be able to get it correctly. So here I am inside of my project, which is the YouTube Foundry project. Remember in the beginning, we used to bring in the endpoint for OpenAI. That is not an OpenAI one. So if I go, for instance, in here and take a look at the AI services, this is for search. If I say AI Foundry, there is an AI project found in here. These are probably not the ones that I would like to take a look at for inferencing. So how do I get the correct endpoint? Alrighty. All right, let's go back all the way down to models and endpoints. You see that? Let's click on that. And I'm going to go back out to see my 3 different models. Remember, I deployed DeepSeek R10528 in the first video. I'm going to click on this guy. And notice the endpoint has a very long name in here. It has the service aiazure.com/models chat completion with an API version. Is that the correct one? Can I copy that and use that in the endpoint? No, unfortunately, that is not it. The key is correct. If you copy that key, that is the key to go against the DeepSeek R10528. And believe it or not, it will end up being the same API key that you got for the OpenAI. They use the same API key for the entire project in here. The one thing that I like is whether you want to go to Python demo or C# demo or Java or JavaScript or whatever, take a look at how the example is doing it, and that will save you so much time. The endpoint stops at the word models right there. That means you can copy it from here. So that's the trick. If I copy that into the clipboard, that will be your endpoint for the DeepSeek R10528. So that is the important part to understand. All right, let me minimize this guy. And I'm going to go back to my app settings, and the endpoint in here, I'm going to be pasting that for the /model. Don't put a slash at the end as well. The model ID, I believe that was the DeepSeek, but it has to be the correct name. Let me copy and paste that as well. It is called DeepSeek-R1-0528. You can see that automatically in your Azure AI Foundry project. That will be the model ID. And then finally the API key, which I'm going to go steal from here as well. Let's copy that to the clipboard, minimize this, and come in here and say Control-V. That's all you need. I'm going to say Control-S, and the program going to Control-S as well. And this will now work when I say add Azure AI inference. Now I'm not going through anything OpenAI. That's why I use the inferencing for the AI inside of the Foundry to be able to go against DeepSeek, Mistral, whatever. All of them will work exactly the same way using the AI inferencing. Just bring in the connectors for the namespace and make sure your project is bringing in the connector for the Azure AI inference, and everything will work just fine. All right. One thing before I run this and let you go that I would like to bring up. Notice here, I don't have an OpenAI prompt execution settings. I have to use the Azure AI inference prompt execution settings. I'm still using the maximum token 1000 and the temperature is 07. It's a float, so I put an F in there. And if you actually push the control key down right there, and go visit that Azure AI Inference Prompt Execution Settings code. Again, I usually like to go down a little bit till I see this part. See, it's a lot less than what we had in OpenAI, but it still has temperature, which is good. It still has maximum tokens. Do you see something that is missing that I wish was there? There is no chat, the chat for the system message, which I'm used to in OpenAI and Azure OpenAI. It's not there. And actually there is like 5 or 6 other ones that are missing from the Azure AI inference. So you have to remember this. Alrighty, so let me close this guy down. So if I come in here and say the chat system message and I give it a name, it will be a red line. It says this object has no clue what you're talking about. So what I did in here, see when it says chat system prompt, you are a helpful assistant. It helps people find information. That was okay for OpenAI and Azure OpenAI. But for this guy, that's not going to work. So where is the right place to put this? It's in the chat history. The chat history, when you initialize it for the first time, you can pass a system message and say you're a helpful assistant that helps people find information, and that will stick with the first system message for the entire conversation as well. But you cannot do it as part of the prompt execution settings. So remember that, again, if you get the red line, whether you're using Olama or any specific model or Gemini or something like that, not all of them allow you to pass the chat message like OpenAI in the prompt execution settings itself. Make sense? Other than that, the code is identical. The one thing that I added for this example to hopefully make it useful for everybody, I have a for each in here and saying the chat completion service object that I just brought in from line number 25, it has attributes and it's different based on every single model. OpenAI has different attributes that Mistral has different attributes from DeepSeek. But what I'm going to say, whatever attributes you have, go through them one by one. That's why there is a for each. And do it in the console, write it in the console, give me the attribute key and its value for each one. So you will notice some of them will have 4 or 5, some will have only 2, some will only have 1 attribute coming in. So again, this is something nice that you can actually run on any model to find out what attributes come in from the iChat completion service based on the model, okay? And OpenAI probably has the most in here in the attributes that have been implemented in Semantic Kernel as well. Okay, I'm ready to run it. We'll say cd03, there you go, CLS, and we'll say the .NET run, and we'll let it rip. Alrighty. So when this is done and the NuGet packages are brought in, it will ask me for the user prompt. Oh, there is an error. Let me see what the error is. URI string. Let me show you what that problem is. Oh yes, that has to do with the URI string. Okay, there's something wrong with the app settings. Oh yes, in the program, I thought actually the configuration is looking for the word DeepSeek, not inference. So I made a mistake, sorry. So I'm gonna come in here, we'll say, instead of inference, we'll make it DeepSeek, like that. All right, we'll say Control S. So whatever name in here that you give it, it could be whatever you want. It has to match, of course, how we're bringing it in the configuration in there as well. All right, benign error. All right, let's go ahead and do it again. We'll say .NET Run. And we'll see if this time it will ask me for the user prompt. Yes. Notice there are two things that got printed out because of my code in here that says for each write the line for the attributes and the key. So it found out that the endpoint is right there in the model ID. So these are the only two attributes. It doesn't spit out API keys or anything else for the AI inferencing models. Okay. So in here, we'll come in here, we'll say, why is the sky blue? And let's see, see, now it's thinking, because DeepSeek is a different kind of model. It has the reasoning built in that is pretty heavy. And now it's going to actually use a lot more tokens, apparently, because it has to think first and then in short, and it's too much stuff coming in. So you're paying a lot more for this one. Not that bad, but it's very, very accurate regarding how it's going to actually, the planning and the thinking for the reasoning about the questions and coming up with the final answer as well in here as well. So it's actually pretty good. And I definitely encourage you to try it out and see the difference between DeepSeek, O3, O4 minis, and the regular ones, the generic ones like GPT-4o and 4.1 and 5.0, and see all of that stuff. Make sense? All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I can't wait to do the next one for you. Thank you.